Hi everyone, this is Sam from Gamereactor here, and we're live at Birmingham talking to Dax Ginn about Arkham VR, which everyone is very excited for. I assume you've seen a lot of people play the game. Since we last talked to you, obviously loads of people have been playing the game. How has that feedback influenced you, and how have you found the recent feedback in general?
The announcement of Batman Arkham VR only happened at E3, so we usually announce our games a long time between announcement and launch, but this time we came out at a totally different way. So from E3 all the way through to now, it's just been an intensive focus at the studio getting the game finished, which thankfully it is now, and it comes out with the launch of the PlayStation VR next month. But the feedback has been awesome. And we never really knew how people would react to VR as a technology, to a Batman game within VR. There was lots of questions in our mind, but the core reaction that we've had is people feeling like they genuinely believe the world that they are in within Batman Arkham VR. So whether it's in the Batcave or in the streets of Gotham City or in Wayne Manor, like the reaction that we get from people is very, very authentic. And that's really one of the strengths of VR. You genuinely believe that you're there. So overlaying the believability of the technology with the believability of an authentic Batman experience, that's a pretty hot combo.
Yeah. Cool. Are there any issues that you found you faced in terms of VR, like motion sickness at all in the recent months?
We faced a lot of motion sickness early on in development because, you know, you're starting to build a game. There's a lot of things that are coming together. So I feel particularly bad for our QA team because they have to find those issues and report them and spend a lot of time in VR. But across the team, it was something we committed to very, very early on, that we had to ensure that Batman Arkham VR was a very, very comfortable experience for everyone who plays it. So ensuring that all of the movement that happens within the game lines up with what your brain is expecting has just been a question of putting in the hard work to get that result. And watching the game being played at shows like Gamescom and here at EGX, E3, San Diego Comic-Con, we've been all over the world, and I've not had a single person complain to me that they had felt even queasy, let alone nauseous as a result. And that is really testament to the work that the team have put in at Rocksteady.
Cool. We've heard you say that there's an hour of core narrative. What else will there be to see, and what will there be in terms of replayability for the game?
One of the awesome things about working within Batman's world and the Arkhamverse is the number of enemies and criminal masterminds and the rogues gallery that is always circulating around Batman. So we haven't really talked too much about what the story of the core narrative is beyond the fact that it's a murder mystery. You're chasing down the identity of a serial killer. Additional content that is unlocked throughout the course of that tends to relate to other big characters that exist within Batman's world. We haven't gone like full kitchen sink with 38 different supervillains. We've chosen characters that really fit the story well. So the core story and the core narrative will see you unlocking content that relates to other supervillains that you can then get stuck into with subsequent playthroughs.
Sure. You're releasing very soon, and what is there left to do? Is it just a polishing process, or what are you aiming to do in the future?
We've submitted the game, so there's not a lot that we can do. It's always like terrifying as a studio when the code is in a state where everyone's like, okay, are we good here? I think we're finished. And then you send it off, and then you wait for a couple of days, and you don't know whether the first parties or the publisher have accepted it. They obviously do intensive testing and playthroughs at that point, and then you just get an email back saying, yep, you've gone gold. And that's an awesome experience. That moment when you know the game is done and we can't touch it anymore. It's sort of like, I don't know, I've got kids, they haven't moved out of home yet, that's a long way off, but I imagine that's what it's like. Like, you've sort of got to kiss it goodbye and just accept that it's now got a life of its own, and it's up to gamers to tell you what they think of it. You work towards that in development for years and years and years, and then when it comes, it's never the way you expect it's going to be, but it's always very satisfying.
When the game is released, obviously gamers will see a lot more than is on show and demos. I assume feedback will be as important to you after launch as well?
It really is critical. You know, the way that games are played now means that the relationship and the conversation that we as developers have with our community and our fans and Batman fans, that's an ongoing conversation. So the feedback that we get on day one and then for the months and months and years beyond that is something that it really is the reason why we make the games that we do. So it's important to us that if there are any issues, that they are resolved quickly and that we're honest about the work that we're doing. If there's bugs that need to be resolved, that we are genuinely putting the resource in to get those things resolved as quickly as possible. That's the thing about software. You can never really know what's going to happen. You can do your best to ensure that the game that you released is as clean as possible, but unforeseeable things do happen. But we take that responsibility very seriously to ensure that when problems do arise, that we address them as quickly as we possibly can.
And remind us again when Batman fans can get their hands on Arkham VR.
Batman Arkham VR coming out October 13th on PlayStation VR.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.